Now everyone, we are gonna head up the forestry. I'm planning on doing a short forestry loop to then have time to walk the next adult group. And then going to the country park with puppies and meeting Freddie's over there, or meeting Freddie's over here, and she's gonna follow me there. It's a general plan for the day. It'll be the first time for Freddie to go there as well. So yeah, it'll be good. And yes, I have got 5 Dalmatians in one hand. And wait. Look at the leaning on this lead. You go back up. So I practice stopping. Make sure I can. And usually after a couple, they sort of stop quicker and wait with less leaning on the lead. Except for maybe Katniss. Good. So, I figured on a different walk, we could talk about female cycles. So Madam Aria, just a bit too excited and not listening. See, lead is rigid. And then Aria, see, they had a little ear twitch, but not even a turn of her head. Aria, yes. Won't even turn for a treat, that's how excited she is. Anyway, so talking about should you breed from your bitch, and I am going to use the word bitch because that's what female dogs are. So, health and temperament, you know, have they passed a Bayer test? Do they have a good temperament? Well, that was a good one. And temperament is so important because it passes on. You need good temperament from mum, good temperament from dad, because if you don't, it can and it will pass on to some of the offspring, if not all of the offspring. Even some quirky, weird stuff. Oh, there's a horse behind us. Katniss! So Katniss is now on lead because she wanted to go with the horse. Finnick thought about it, called him back, he came back. And then he's like, okay, I'll stay with mum. So yeah, do they have good temperaments? For example, can a horse come up behind them and you call them, they come and they wait while the horse passes them with no bother. It's just one example of good temperament, trainable temperament, not reactive to different situations, etc. And I don't feel like breeding necessarily changes the bitch's temperament as much as it could change the dog's temperament. It could a little bit. Like for example, when I keep from a litter, I don't walk the puppy with their mum for a good while because I don't ever want the mum to feel protective of her baby. And after a while, obviously, we do walk together. For example, like on Nala and Aria, and then we've got Aria and Finnick. So, you know, it does happen after a while, but it doesn't happen straight away. And that's kind of just how I play it safe a little bit. But again, like different people do different things. So, yeah, I think the worst they can do is maybe get a little bit protective over their offspring. But I don't feel like that lasts either if they do. So, Raven during pregnancy told Katniss off quite harshly twice. And like that hasn't happened before or since she's been pregnant. She didn't even tell her off like that. after she gave birth, literally just while she was pregnant. So, you know, stuff like that needs to sort of be appreciated, like that it could happen. But then, do other people have more than one dog, or multiple dogs, where little pack politics can get a bit worse? So that is something also to consider. The biggest thing to consider when breeding from your bitch is things that can go wrong. So, and I didn't really talk about this in the stud dog one, but they can get STDs, dogs can, which kind of blew my brain a little bit at the start. And then I was like, why? Of course they could. Katniss. Yes, good girl. So Katniss, stay still. There we go. So yeah, they can get STDs, which could cause them to abort a litter, could potentially cause deformities in puppies. So that's one thing to consider. Another thing is like the initial cost of everything. So the cost of stud fees, which are payable upon mating more often than not. The cost of all the equipment, which can run into thousands. The cost of raising a litter equally can run into a lot of money, you know, because puppies eat a lot. Bitches feeding puppies eat a lot. And then, you know, puppy pads, washing powder, extra electric, extra heating, extras of everything, all add up. And then going back to what could go wrong. So they could need emergency C-section. And that could be, you know, early hours of Saturday morning. So it's going to be the highest rate of out of hours emergency care possible. That can and does happen. That's thousands if that happens. I heard of a litter in Sweden where she'd had a C-section and then died 2 days later. I assume from some sort of internal bleed. I don't quite know. But basically, she had a litter of 15 that these people had to then hand rear. I've heard of people losing puppies, you know, in the first few days, in the first few weeks, and losing a whole litter. At the point of the path where it zigzags. So I just saw the horse pass and somebody else walking. So I just stopped and scatter fed, gave them a bit of a head start. So I'm not constantly calling the dogs back and away from them. So if it went so wrong that you lost your whole litter, which it can, you know, you have still spent the money on the stud dog. Finnick, this way. Katniss, this way. This way. You still bought all your equipment. You still spent on everything. But you haven't got a litter to show for it. Or if you lose your bitch, you know, that is like, to me, it's even worse than losing a litter of puppies. You know, she didn't ask for a litter of puppies. You wanted a litter of puppies. And just because you feel like your bitch is mothering and has got good mothering instincts, still doesn't mean she has to be a mother. Buy a puppy in and let her mother that. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to put your bitch to that level of risk. Do you have the knowledge of good matches? Some lines work really well with some pedigree, other lines, and not so well with others. Do you know that stuff? Do you know the health and temperament history of your bitch's pedigree and the stud dog's pedigree? what do you hope to create in this next generation? Now, a bitch pod covered recently is quite a good example of this. Now, the owner of the bitch doesn't show, has no intention to show, wants to produce pets. But he also wants to improve on his bitch. He wants to add some bone to his bitch and some other features. So he chose pod for that, which ought to work. The litter is on the ground at the minute and looks to have worked. But he didn't just go, oh, I just want to breed pets. Doesn't matter what stud dog I use. Because it does. As a bitch owner, are you prepared to take back any puppies that you have bred? Are you prepared to have owners ringing and messaging you all times of the day and night with questions? Do you know how to answer those questions? Is your knowledge of dogs in depth enough to answer those questions? You know, and it sounds silly, but all of these things matter. It's not as simple as putting two dogs together, getting a litter of puppies on the ground, and then cashing in at 8 weeks. There's a lot of time. Like for the first 3 weeks, the puppies are, since they've been born, I'm sleeping downstairs side by side with their whelping box. Those puppies don't get left 24/7. Guys, this way! Have you got time like that to commit? Girl Rave. Katniss, Frederick. And then for the rest of that time that you've got those puppies, do you know how much they poop? Like, I've had another bitch owner go, is it normal or they poop this much? I was like, yep. And give it another week or two and they're going to be pooping even more. Because that's what they do. You know, you got to have eyes in the back of your head what those puppies are getting into. Again, up to, because they're into everything all of the time. So, you know, are you ready for that? Do you know how to raise puppies? Do you know what good practice is? What are you lot eating? I don't want to know, do I? So, there's so much you need to know, even more so as a bitch owner who's going to actually have the litter of puppies in their house to raise, than you even need to know as a stud dog owner. I think you need to know it as a stud dog owner too, to help the bitch owners out, help to give them advice. Do you know how much puppies need to weigh, how much they need to eat? Rave slow, although, you know, as they're growing up. Do you know good diets to wean them onto, good foods to wean them onto? Do you know about puppy pack schemes and appropriate worming schedule and how to feed your bitch? Like, there's nothing worse than going to visit a litter of puppies and seeing the mum of the puppies skinny. All you gotta do is feed them. And if they're not feeding enough, they'll be skinny. And if somebody tells you, oh, it's because she keeps throwing up for the puppies, yeah, some bitches do that. But all you gotta do is separate them. All you gotta do is give your bitch an extra meal to prevent all of that. So, I'm gonna shut up now because I'm getting quite out of path. And yeah, I could probably do another video on this, to be fair. So yeah, see you all soon. Bye.